Welcome back. This is Women's Day 2026, and we are not slowing down. All day, back to back, bold conversations, one of the biggest online Women's Day podcast lineup. Well, we are streaming right now on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube at the same time. If you are joining us right now for the first time, this is episode 2, and we are talking here about the voices. This hour is dedicated to the voice, about inclusion, about standing firm in rooms where comfort is preferred over change. Because leadership is easy when everyone agrees, it is tested when you challenge systems. Let's bring in a woman who chose that path. Before I welcome the guest of today, she is a thoughtful leader, an entrepreneur, an inclusivity advocate, a voice for equity in professional spaces. Please welcome with me the guest of today, Shruti Swaroop. Hi, Shruti. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Abhishek. Thank you so much for having me here today.
The pleasure is all ours. Shruti, before we begin, if I want to ask you something, if someone described you in one word today, what would you hope that word is?
What would I hope that word is?
Yeah,
Um, Empathetic.
empathetic. Okay. And would that word have described you 10 years ago as well?
No.
No. Okay. So there has been some change in these 10 years, right? So the Shruti
Oh, yes.
before 10 years and today is different?
Yes. Yes. Change happens every day. I mean, if you ask me, was I a different person 3 months back versus in 2026? Of course. Loads have changed. Your question is 10 years. 10 years, a lot has changed. I was a
Yes.
rebel, and I was a rebel without a cause.
Okay.
Um, So from there to and your question was what would I hope people would say? It wasn't
Yeah.
what would I know people would say. So yeah, I hope people would think that I'm empathetic, that I understand the other person's perspective. I've tried
Okay.
hard to be there. So yeah.
Lovely. Okay. If I ask you A plus B equal to C, we all know. But what is A in Shruti plus what is B in Shruti equals to C is Shruti. So what is
Oh
your
my
A plus B equals to Shruti?
oh my God, you're asking such tough questions.
Oh no, not at all.
Um,
Take it light. Don't take it tough.
uh, what makes Shruti? I think uh, I am ambitious
Okay.
and very, very unapologetically ambitious. So I think the ambition and the strength for me is family. So I think the combination of that the family has allowed, and when I say family, I mean my parents as well. I think
Yes.
that combination has given me the wings to fly. That
Lovely.
we are anchoring you, go ahead, do what you want to do, fulfill your ambitions, go stretch yourself as far as you want to, find those boundaries which are beyond horizons, and we're there. So the anchor is home.
That's great. So, this is what Shruti Swaroop is all about here with us today. We're going to have a wonderful hour with her. So, guys who are watching us live or who will be watching this video later, stay tuned. There is a lot more coming to learn from Shruti Swaroop. I'm starting with my first question, Shruti. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, Shruti, when you look back at your journey as a woman, what experiences have shaped you the most personally?
So can I point out something in the question? So firstly, when you
Please.
say what what has shaped me as a woman, I think I treat myself more as a human and not as a woman. That's first and
Okay.
foremost, and that's
Hmm.
something um, which comes from the upbringing I come with. So I come from an army background. Dad was in the army, and I don't remember ever being uh, spoken to like a girl.
Yeah.
So it was about, these are children, these are people. So when somebody says we are treating somebody as a woman, I'm like, I'm a human being. It doesn't matter. And that's how I interact with people as well. So for me, Abhishek is not a male, Abhishek is a person,
Yeah.
right? So um, now, coming back to your question, what has shaped me personally? I think, dad being in the army, that I think was the foundation. I still remember being woken up at 4 or 5 in the morning and made to do those rounds with dad and given that strict discipline. It was like four meant four, five meant five. I think so. That is something. Um, so that I think has been the foundation of who I am. And I as I said, I talk very openly about how important it was to have a father who said, go ahead, do it. There are few memories that taught me resilience. I still remember, in school we had a poem called Jhansi Ki Rani, which was a
खूब बड़ी
long,
मर्दानी.
yeah, Khoob Ladi Mardani, and it was a long poem. It is a long poem. It's like good some 4 or 5 pages. And
Yeah.
I remember being asked at I think 9 or 8 in the night by the house captain saying, tomorrow morning assembly, you have to recite that poem. And my first instinct was, such a long poem, I can't do that. And my dad at the background, and we had landline phones, right? I'm talking some 30 years back,
Yes.
25 years back. I was in grade 5 for sure. That is what I remember. And dad saying, it's okay, we'll do it. And I practiced, and he ensured that I was, reciting it the right way. Um, so that basically, that was the first foundation, that, one of the many, basically one of the first few. You cannot say no. It doesn't matter what comes your way.
Yes.
So don't say no. You don't know what will come of it. And eventually I did it next morning in the school morning assembly. There was one prompt that came from the back because I took a pause, but a few things that I learned in that 7 minutes of recitation was, one, it doesn't matter if you fail. uh, you will always be able to rise up to the occasion if you really try hard. There are people who are willing to support you, people who have your back, and never say no. So, some of those lessons which come very early in life, and that has stayed
Beautiful.
with me.
That's lovely.
That is kind of, when you, and it kind of summarizes who I am. So whether it's today when work comes my way, it's like, ho jayega, kar lenge, or
Correct. I think
strangers will have
because
your
of
back.
that upbringing and that environment where you have grown up, go-getter attitude is like part of DNA. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
there is nothing called no. Yes, or how to make it yes.
And
और
sorry.
वो कहते हैं हिंदी में आर्मी के बच्चे अलग क्यों होते हैं क्योंकि आर्मी वालों के कैंपस में डिसिप्लिन हवा में घूमता है तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली लाइक आप सेल्फ पुलिसिंग में आ जाते हो and that is very important for everyone. I always feel that every children or every person in India should undergo few hours of service duration.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It
So the
changes you.
point what you said, what I can understand is, so the foundation of your leadership was not built in boardroom, it was built in lived experiences, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
coming from there, I'm moving to the second question, and that is, was there a moment, Shruti, in your life that made you question the way women are treated in professional or social spaces? We're talking in
Yes.
general, right? Not everybody comes from the adult background, the way you say, in our ecosystem, we never say men, women, we say adults or humans or children. But in general, when we talk in the
Yes.
professional spaces, what is your point of view?
uh, a lot of your answers actually keep coming back to me from my personal life experience, not a professional world experience. um, so when we
That's
moved
what we want to hear, your personal life, the personal Shruti.
we moved to Delhi after school, and I did my graduation here in Delhi University. So, as I was telling you, we were never treated like girls. So, we were told, we could step out in the morning, we could go to the butcher shop and get mutton or non veg or whatever. And so, once I had, very normally the parents said, okay, can you get some non veg for us? And I remember going to this shop next door to where we used to stay and buying non-veg, and some relative saw me there, and typical pleasantries, kaise ho, and all of that happened. And I bought a few things and I reached home. In that 20 minutes that would have taken me to purchase and buy the other things and milk and bread and whatever and reach home, there was a call that had reached my parents, and my parents were pulled up for sending a girl to a butcher shop to buy non-veg. लड़कियां बुचर शॉप नहीं जाती हैं.
Hmm.
So, the fact that I have to have a voice, women need to have a voice, I think those were some of the lived social experiences that
Yeah.
taught me that, okay, I need to change that. um, लड़कियां जो है वो फलाने पूजा में नहीं बैठेंगी.
Hmm.
um, and extended family. So while my parents were who they are, and God bless, both of them have are no longer here, but the extended family, the social circle, the neighbors, and I realized that my upbringing has been so different. And as you very rightly said, in the larger society, women still need to have a voice, women still need to prove themselves.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, I go for solo vacations. I am
Okay.
somebody who gets on a I take out my car and I just leave, or I'll just book my flights and I'll just leave. And the number of times I'm like, ऐसे ही निकल गए, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुई, अकेले घूमोगे, दो लोग साथ में जाएंगे, चार लड़कियां साथ में ले जाओ. And I'm like, I don't need that. So those aspects are what tell you that there is so much distance that has to be covered, and as much as we are talking about it, as much as we are, and I am a rural, a urban educated woman. There are so many others who don't have those privileges that I have. So
Yes.
it's just there's a lot of distance to be traveled, and I can go on and on and on.
I know. We have seen globally, how movements begin with one woman refusing to normalize what feels unfair.
Yes.
And that leads to a decision. Now, the decision, when I say, I want to know from you that how did those experience influence the kind of work you chose to do?
So I
Can
call
you unpack?
myself I call myself an accidental entrepreneur, Abhishek. It's not that I wanted to be an entrepreneur or I wanted to make a change, to be very honest.
Hmm.
But yes, some of these experiences, and I remember when we came back from the UK and I was looking for a job. I remember a person who was interviewing me. She said that you have two small kids. How are you going to work? It's going to be very tough for you. These are long hours. Will you be able to manage? Ironically, the lady who was saying this to me, that was her first day after maternity break. And back then, as I said, I, by as much as I was a rebel, I also knew when to shut up. So I didn't say this to her. But my
Yes.
point was, you've just come back after maternity. You are going to do the same job. So if you can do it, why can't I do it? What is the
Of
big
course.
difference? But some of these things, drive our thought process. They are what tell us that, okay, we need to make a change. We have to ensure that the work today that we do adds to somebody's life. So, what I do in my role, I ensure that I'm providing opportunities to women who've taken a break, women who would want somebody to believe in them. I have been very lucky. I have got mentors who've told me, Shruti, jao karo, I have your back. Make mistakes, that's fine. So I think that is something that today I try and do through Embrace, where we are like, okay, let's go ahead. You're empowered. Take the decision. What is the worst that will happen?
Yeah.
And it's there is no mistake that cannot be rectified.
True. True. So your
So
work was not ambition driven. It was conviction driven.
both
Both.
conviction that I need to make, support people, and then ambition that in the entire process I will be able to leave a legacy behind. And sorry, I'm thinking as I'm answering.
Yes. Yes. That's what we want. The real Shruti, the actual Shruti, right? When okay. So when you began speaking about inclusion and gender equality, equity rather, what surprised you the most about people's reaction? Give me some instances, or on this.
Everything, everything. And you heard me, right? I come from a school of thought where it's not man and women, or there are no three genders. Everybody is a
Yeah.
person. So what
Yes.
surprises is the fact that there are, firstly, as you very rightly said, there are many voices like mine who have been trying to make a change for years and years and years, not just in India, globally. I come from
Yes.
a global mindset. I have worked across the globe. I have traveled to more than 45, 46 countries. Um,
Lovely.
so the more you travel, the more you realize that there is absolutely no difference between the life that I live here in India versus what somebody else is living in Uganda, or somebody else is living in the US, or somebody else is living in Bosnia.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no difference. There could be nuances in terms of experiences, but broadly it's the same thing. But what surprises, and as much as it was a surprise, it was also very interesting find, because I was like, there have been years and decades of hard work that has happened, yet the displacement is not as much. You're still not allowed to speak at boardrooms. You're still told that you will not be able to do this. The number of times I have been given a balance sheet and said, आप अपनी टीम में किसी को बोल देना, if you had if you have somebody in the family who can read it for you. And I'm like, I know how to read my balance sheets. I know how to read any balance sheets. I have walked into rooms where people have said, "Oh, we would want you to do this night, 2 days travel to Raipur. Would you be able to do it?" It's in the back of Beyond Place. And my thing is, you wouldn't have asked this question if there was a man who you would have called to Raipur, but you're asking me this question because it's a woman here. What has surprised me is just statements in an open workshop or an open session like this, where somebody has come to me and said, आप चाहते हैं मैं inclusive बनूं, I am going to be inclusive at work, but please don't ask me to change as a person. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Openly in a gathering of 50, 60 people. I am surprised by people saying, हम नहीं चाहते हमारी बेटियां फैक्ट्री में जाएं, क्योंकि हमें पता है हम अपनी फैक्ट्री में बाकी लड़कियों को किस तरह से ट्रीट करते हैं. Openly in a workshop of 50, 60, 100 people. So we are trying to make a change. There are people who have put in tons of money into, loads of money into this. Yet conversations like these, they surprise me and they hurt me. And when I say hurt, there's a lot of pain that comes.
Yeah.
Um, there are conversations like, मैम भगवान ने औरत मर्द इसलिए बनाए हैं कि औरत घर का काम करेगी, मर्द बाहर का काम करेगा. आप क्यों जेंडर इक्विटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? And yeah, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hurt, um, and there is no understanding of why we are trying to do what we are trying to do. And it's not about gender, it's about inclusion, the bigger umbrella of inclusion.
I know, I know. I have seen
uh,
many scenarios like if there is a caller calling, or suppose not if you call to a call center, right, and you're a female, and if you are asking something, I have personally seen couple of times the call center handler who's attending the call, whether it's a ma'am or not, they always say sir, sir. And I have seen personally in my own space, like if we go for a dinner and we order something, and somebody is taking our order, and generally that's not my area. So Lipika is the one who is asking, what is this, what is new, what is, and that person is taking order from her, but he replies to me by looking at me, and then I
और
have to
बिल
tell
आपके
him,
पास आता है.
एंड देन आई हैव टू टेल हिम, भाई उधर देख के बात करो, मैडम पूछ रही है, मैडम को जवाब दो, मुझे मत जवाब दो. सो दिस इज अ वेरी कॉमन थिंग, लाइक हमारी सोसाइटी अभी भी हम बोलते इक्वालिटी है, इक्विटी है, एंड बट ये सिर्फ है ना कहने की बातें हैं. आज भी मेल ड्रिवन सोसाइटी है, रूल्स उनके हिसाब से बनते हैं, जैसा उन्हें पसंद है वैसे बनते हैं. बट द पॉइंट इज, देर आर पीपल हु आर ब्रिंगिंग चेंज. देर आर पीपल हु हैव थॉट कि कुछ भी हो जाए हम नहीं रुकेंगे, हम नहीं थकेंगे, हम बदलते रहेंगे, राइट. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट द माइंडसेट्स वी हैव. इट्स ऑल अबाउट द वे हाउ वी वांट टू bring the change. So I'm glad we spoke on this, and I always say, feel, believe, Shruti, that change often reveals resistance, and resistance reveals how necessary the conversation is, right?
Absolutely.
So even in progressive organizations, inclusion, you know, the conversation about inclusion can feel uncomfortable, and that discomfort is data, right? And
Absolutely.
on difficult days, if I have to ask you, on difficult days when change feels slow or misunderstood, what keeps you committed to this path? Because the way you are working into this space, you don't get a welcome everywhere, or you don't get that complete satisfaction कि जो मैं चाहती थी वो complete सुन रहे हैं लोग. So how like what keeps you committed to that path? I want to know that kick. वो kick कहाँ से आती है? What is that high?
आपको भी कहानी सुनाई थी ना वो रानी झांसी पोयम वाली.
जी जी.
आई थिंक कमिटमेंट वहां से आती है. मैं
Right.
आपको आई टेल यू समथिंग. यू टॉकिंग अबाउट फीलिंग मिसअंडरस्टूड और थिंग्स बीइंग स्लो. आई हैव अ ह्यूज डिस्कनेक्ट विद things like International Women's Day, where a lot of organizations do this only to do a tick in the box as a tokenism.
I
It's like
know.
tokenization. Nothing will happen for the rest of the year. Everything will happen only on, in the month of March. Things will happen only in Pride Month for people from the community, and I have a huge disconnect there. And what keeps me on when I see this disconnect, and because I want to move it from that tokenization to a sustained change, I want it to be a way of life.
Hmm.
And my big motivator in this is something that one of my mentors had told me. He said, and he's a salesperson, and he said this to me. He said, हम तो कॉल करते रहते हैं, दूसरा आदमी जब तक फोन ना पटक दे, गाली ना दे दे, वी जस्ट कीप एट इट. You have to show up every day and give it your best shot, put your best foot forward. What is the worst that can happen? And I think that has been my mantra. What is the worst that can happen? I have nothing to lose.
Wow.
When you're at rock bottom, there is only one way from there, which is up. So I have nothing to lose. I just need to keep trying, and that's what I keep doing. I keep trying, I keep talking, I keep spreading the thought process, I keep motivating my team, I keep hiring talent. and people from our team have gone and joined some large consulting firms globally, are working with some of the huge large multilaterals across the globe. So yeah, I mean, I'm just doing whatever little I can do. At one point in time, I wanted to leave a legacy behind. To me, the definition of legacy has changed. I think even if one person can take that, be the bearer of the torch and make a change, I think that is the biggest legacy anybody can leave behind, because nobody eventually remembers anybody. So that's immaterial. But yeah, I, I'm, I just keep showing up.
That's very important, and this is a power mantra, Shruti, which I want many other uh, females, adults rather, be it men, women, because I feel women, men is already a part of woman, you know, woman. So man is already there. So the point is, रॉक बॉटम से जब ऑपरेट करना, यदि ये माइंडसेट सबका बन जाए कि आई हैव नथिंग टू लूज, दिस इज समथिंग, एक पोस्टर बना के सबको अपने ड्राइंग रूम में लगा देना चाहिए, ड्रेसिंग रूम में, एंड बिफोर व्हेन यू आर गेटिंग रेडी, whether to work or work in kitchen or work in boardroom or in meetings or at workshop or at a factory outlet, before you head your day out, I have nothing to lose. यदि ये बात, खास करके क्योंकि आज हम वुमेनहुड को लेकर फोकस बात कर रहे हैं, तो मैं आपके थ्रू और इस पावर मंत्रा के थ्रू आई वुड लाइक टू एड्रेस ऑल द वुमेन हु आर वाचिंग us right now or later. Say to yourself just this thing. Close your eyes and say, I have nothing to lose. And then whatever happens to you, whatever comes to you, is a bonus to you. You'll be always be happy. So your happiness quotient will always be just upgrading. There won't be any downfall to it, because I have nothing to lose.
That's
With this
such a
note,
powerful thing.
yes, so thank you to you. So stay silent, let weight sit, because I have nothing to lose. On this note, Shruti, I have, by the way, to all our viewers right now, this streaming is live on three platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And this is a Women's Day 2026 special. Every hour today, we are bringing you the voice of a woman who is not ordinary. There is an extra to her. That's why she is an extraordinary. And one extraordinary woman is already there with us. I would say Shruti Swaroop, the rebel and the go getter, and the one who believes and who wears a jacket which has a chip on it. There's nothing to lose. Well, Shruti, on this part, before we close, this Women's Day, there are women watching who feel they have something to say, but they hesitate. Which part of themselves do you think women need to reconnect within order to lead more freely? Just try to understand, because you meet so many women, so many men, so many people around. So just on that generic note, uh, you know, you are coming from a very strong background. uh, I'm glad, but everybody is not coming from that strong background. So उस point of view को ध्यान में रखते हुए, uh, what is one thing as a go-to mantra which can help them? And I always say, Shruti is not a mystic master or a magician. So, and neither me. But all those who are watching us, and जो भी श्रुति अभी बोलने वाली है, उसको लेके सिर्फ एक बार एक्सपेरिमेंट करने के लिए सिर्फ सोचना कि चलो इसने कहा है, ऐसा करके देखती हूँ तो क्या होगा. So my question is, those who are watching us or who are around, if we want to give a message, that if they feel something to say or to do but they hesitate to do, so what part of themselves do you think women need to reconnect within order to lead more freely?
Fantastic question, wonderful question, and I'll tell you why. Um, I strongly believe most of us don't know who we really are. So I keep telling people, do you even know your strengths? Do you know what makes you tick? And a lot of us stop short of really exploring ourselves because we don't know what our strengths are. So, if you really want to know, and when I say you, a generic you,
Yeah.
um, understand who you are, connect with your strengths, write down 5 things or 10 things that you bring to the table, 5 things that you think are your strengths. The world is obsessed with finding what is missing in you. The world is obsessed with telling you what you don't have from a very young age. Nobody is going to come and tell you this is what your strength is, but we know our strengths. Sit down, explore, write your strengths, recognize your strengths, and once you know what you bring to the table, reconnect and explore each one of those, and you will find a very different person ready to take on the world, having that voice, exploring. We are scared of expressing ourselves to so many people, but the moment you get to know your strengths, that fear goes away. We are scared of confronting the truth, we are scared of confronting the world around us, but the moment we know what we bring to the table, the moment we know we have it in us, nothing is beyond our boundaries. Nothing is something that हम नहीं कर सकते, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. We can do everything provided we know what we bring to the table, and I think that recognition that these are my strengths, this is what Shruti brings to the table, that recognition is important. So I think everyone should spend some time to identify what their strengths are, and that identification will lead to a very different life, and it's going to be it's going to be switch. Life will change
Wow,
overnight.
that's lovely. So चार अल्फाबेट सामने आए हैं, SWRP, जो स्वरूप से मिलते हैं. S, sit down. W, write. R, read, recognize. P, be proud of yourself.
Wow.
So that is स्वरूप. एंड वो श्रुति का स्वरूप है, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, जो हमने अभी अभी देखा. A very power dose of master experiment she has given to all of us. Just try it for one day, for one time. And she's not telling you to implement action. Just sit and write, and then read, and then forget. Then don't do it. Please don't do it. Because if you do it, you will see the breakthrough. And breakthroughs are not so easily acceptable for people. You cannot digest it.
Yeah.
So don't do it. Because if you do, you will see the new you. So I'm saying, please do it. Okay. Well, this was a wonderful interaction with Shruti Swaroop from Gurgaon, the amazing leader who works about uh, everyone to be a part of the ecosystem. There is nothing called he or she, men or women, and that inclusion. So she is actually a true advocate. We can sense that in this duration of the power voice are with Shruti Swaroop. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being a part of this particular talk where we experience Shruti and her wisdom. Shruti, we thank you very much. Today was not just about inclusion, it was about courage, about conviction, about choosing to speak when silence feels safer. Thank you for reminding us that leadership begins within, not outside. Well, every hour, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you the voice of woman who is not ordinary, but one who has, beaten odds to fulfill her dreams and become an inspiration for many. This is Women's Day 2026, all day, back to back, bold conversations. Very personal story, very real, and very simple. One of the biggest online Women's Day podcast lineup is going on. Don't miss what is coming next. Thank you. Stay with us, watch, engage, and do share. God bless. Thank you very much. This is Shruti Swaroop and Abhishek Pasari. Stay connected, stay blessed. Namaste.